Hey, so I'm at work, so I might have to stop and go, but I'll let you know if I do that. So here we go. Alright, so hello! Now, now for this morning, there's a few things, or I was looking through my closet, and I spotted my jersey. And I remember looking back, it was the first football game. I was never real great, so who was the first deaf football player? It was this against this. So I had to step back, and the institution I was at, they were like the top for the deaf institutes. And it's like, oh, no. We're going to do a football game next year. And it wasn't a priority for them. They had all this other stuff, but I was fine with that. I wanted to go to the football game, and that was acceptable. And so the fall of that year, it was 2 or 3, and it was the last game. And Monday, practice, it was raining, and afterwards we were all going to... But I was in the locker room, and everyone came rushing in, and they were all sitting down, and they spotted a blackboard, and there was some notes on it, and all 3 of them, they were all watching. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, I backed it up a little bit, and here we go. So they all came rushing in and sitting down, and they spotted the blackboard up ahead. And there was a few papers posted on there, and the coach, he was walking around, they were all watching, and the coach was like, okay, so the papers on here, I have something. It was over from Gallagher, and I saw it, and I was like, what? And that was cool. So the newspapers, it was that at the time, and the newspapers, they were talking about the football game, and we were all just, they all went to a victory party, and I'm like, wow, we won. So everyone was just watching, and they were like, oh, you want to? And they were all like super upset about it, because they all went home, got some rest over at the house. And so Tuesday, it was raining, and they all rushed forward, and they were like, we'll go to the gym and work out and build up muscles and do some core and just review on some stuff. They went around, and it was different areas, and they went home for dinner. And Wednesday, it was raining again, and it was canceled, so there was no meeting. And I was just so furious. Like, I told him, like, oh, there's nothing. I was just furious. And then Thursday, it was raining a little bit. It wasn't bad, but we went outside, and we were following along, and we were doing, like, we were working on the core. We were just reviewing stuff and all that, and so it was we were finally at the institute, and we went around, and it was everyone had like mohawks and like headphones. Were like, what? It's a different environment over there, but that's okay. And it's just a little nerve-wracking and surprising. So that night we're all socializing, and they went outside to eat, and they were focused on what they were doing. And then Friday, it was work day, so all morning and all night we would gather around to eat food and just kind of spaghetti and the healthy stuff. So you got to remember that for the game. That morning you couldn't focus. It was awful, and it was time. It was close to the game. We all went to the gym. And remember that one time it was just so quiet. And it was just, I can't think of the word, but there was just nothing. And we were just looking eye to eye, and I will never forget that feeling that just everything was in slow motion, and they threw the football, and it went far, and then the other people backed up, and the coach was like, okay, just follow along. And they all had their helmets, and see the ball in the distance and still spinning. And we were just walking. We were all following one another, and we looked over to the other team, and there was one person just run along, and the muscle was huge. He had big shoulders and huge shoulder pads, and the other guy was at the head. He was just walking along, and we looked forward again, and we're just marching through this line, and you could see the field getting closer and closer. And the other people were just comfortable. They were all sitting, just waiting. And then when we showed up, we had nothing to say. We were all ready. We were all excited, and then all of a sudden we just took off. And it was just an easy play, and our group went all over the place, and we built our walls, and we were just excited. We were working on it, and be right back. I'm back. Okay. So they just started kicking us, and I could feel like the shock of it all, and I just started seeing white, and the people running over, and they were just beating on me, and I felt like this wasn't right. And he was just hitting everywhere. And my coach was looking, he was like, break, 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 nope, And they all rushed ahead, and they were looking eye to eye. And anyway, so the time for the game to start. We officially started, and the ball was kicked off, and it landed, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. Alright, and again, like, I was just confused because that one person kept just hitting me, and it was like, what is happening? So they had the first touchdown, the first goal, and it was just the water boys running out, and I was playing. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, everyone decided to come in, but I promise I'm getting through this. So they finally stopped, and someone fell, and they landed on their butt and their mouth. Oh Lord, they hit their privates on the pole, and they blew the whistle, and everyone was just watching. They just turned around, and they were like, what? No! Oh no! And they were deaf hearing, it was restricted, and it made me feel just torn inside. It was terrible. I was just done with it. And then we were all scared, like, it was not allowed, and we were just so upset about it. And they added 2 points. And they looked scared, like everyone just kind of looked scared, and they were looking around, and you guys look scared. Your eyes are huge. Like, come on, man. Just stop. You gotta look tough. You gotta change it. You gotta look like you know what you're doing, like you're in the zone, and you've got this. I will be right back. Here we go. Okay. So we came together, and we just kind of kept on swinging. We grabbed the football, and we're just running for it. We were just running for it. We threw it, and it was just going, and it touched, and we're just done, and so 12, and that was just a lot. So it was enough. No. So I was ready, and I was running. again. I was ready to pass it off, but he saw, like, it was just, I saw an opening, and I was like, okay, well, I could throw it and he could lose it, but he caught it, or it could just fall. And I saw someone, and I was running for it, like, it was, well, halftime happened, and somewhere after, so it was the last game for me, or as a senior, and they kept fumbling and breaking, and we were running for it, and saw the goal, and they tackled me, and I was confused. They picked me up, and the game's finished. The game's finished, and it was raining, and the football was heavy. And oh, it went through the goal. It finally went through the goal. And last game was rejected. The back of your head. So you need to stay quiet. And I was backing up, and slowly I saw, oh, the football was wet, and it just slid right through my hands. And I fell, and I looked back, and they fell, and they dropped it, and I stood back up, and I'm like, oh, my stomach was just twisted, like, you didn't catch it? And I wanted to win. I was like, yay! And everyone was cheering, and people showed up, and interviewers, and newspapers, and I looked up, and there's a little announcer room, and everyone just looked so disappointed. I'm deaf. I'm like, oh, so what's that word? Like, remember? I have a celebration party to go to, and we entered, and it was all the same, and football players, and the games, and the people who won, and I was like, oh, can I keep the football? And they're like, yeah, sure. So here it is. That's the football. And that was from that day that we won. That time that was my greatest memory. And look at this jersey.